Head trauma. Do you ever hear those stories of people getting such bad head trauma to the point where they construct entire lives in their head? Unfortunately, I experienced one of those situations. Except, I only got to live a single day. The way I got my head trauma isn't really important, but to sum it up, I was practicing for a big kickball game the next day with friends. I was running to second base when one of them hit a hard fastball. It seemed to curve and gain momentum mid-air as it hit me straight in the face, knocking me over. My head hit the bleachers with, according to my friends, what sounded like a loud, deep rattle of a coin. Instantly, I passed out, and when I woke up, I was back in my bed. Confused but sighing a breath of relief, I went downstairs and grabbed a bowl of oatmeal for the day. There was a note on the refrigerator that stated that my parents were at one of my sister's soccer games, which I didn't mind. After all, I would need the peace and quiet so I could grind out my writing. During that moment, I was working on a feature screenplay titled Worlds. It was a script about a mysterious interloper who helped people in the afterlife, traveling through different worlds, whilst invading police and whatnot. It was essentially an interdimensional The Running Man, if you've ever read that book. Anywho, I sat down in front of my computer and opened up the script and began writing. I think I was about 45 minutes into the session when I heard the overly loud engine of a car park outside. It was quite noisy. My walls aren't exactly paper thin. So I was confused, yet mad. I was quite taken out of the experience so early. Annoyed, but still curious, I got up and looked out the window. It was the postal service. They had stopped and put some mail in the mailbox. Well, I thought, if I'm standing up, might as well check it out. And I did. I didn't put on any shoes, so the bumpy texture of the pavement pierced through the cotton soles of my socks as I walked over to the plastic mailbox. There was only a letter in there. The letter had no name attached, only a city. Door. Michigan. When I finally got back inside my house, I curiously tore open the letter and unfolded the piece of paper. There were 2 words written, completely in the center. Merry Christmas. Suddenly, I felt the warmth and comfort of other people in the room as jolly music played from behind me. When I twirled around to see my parents, I was quite taken aback. Mum was setting up the Christmas tree. My sister was practicing a Christmas carol from her band book. She was trying to hit the right notes when Mum ushered an annoyed groan. She turned to look at me worriedly. "Hon, could you go get Uncle's special watch, please?" Whoa. I was awestruck by the sudden change of scenery. "Oh, never mind. I always have to do everything." I was going to let her go on when suddenly my instincts kicked in. No, I'll get it. It's fine, Mum." My mouth just ran and seemed to have a mind of its own. I don't know if that was just my natural instincts as a son kicking in, or if that was just a part of the whole hallucination. And yet, though not without a slight hesitancy, I went upstairs. My sister was still singing off beat when I approached my parents' door. I swung it open and began to dig in their cabinets. It was quite eerie in there. Their fanlight had that creepy, dim, yellowish tint that always unnerved me. It didn't help hearing my sister's offbeat singing, just knowing I could be with them. "Did you get the mail, dear?" my mum yelled. I closed a drawer of Dad's clothes, turning around to the door. "Yeah!" I stared at the door. A floating cloak was there now. The end of its robe was a dark, murky blue colour that looked like it had been dipped in sewage water. The floating cloak thing also had a hood. The Christmas music had stopped. My sister's offbeat singing stood loudly like a gallant warrior. The hairs on my nape stood up. My ears were warm, and they seemed to pulsate as my heart trampolined up and down hastily. I held my breath. I didn't dare take my eyes off of the cloak. I noticed the light had gotten darker. I hadn't even noticed. I just stood there, eyes wide. The cloaked apparition stood back. The choir downstairs seemed to get louder. The light was nearly dark when the bulb straight up exploded. I finally exhaled. It was hard and panicked. I didn't feel any better as this thing, and I still persisted our little staring contest. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't know what to do. I tried to assess my options, but ultimately I came up defenseless as I left my feet planed permanently on the soft carpet. I was thinking of the creature in front of me. I stunned in horror by it, sure, but there was a sort of distinct recognition I got from looking at it that was difficult to pinpoint where it came from. It made it all the more eerie and terrifying to me. Then, it stopped. The light came back. The figure was gone. A plane had crashed into our house. Everything was on fire, but it was silent. There were no sirens, no screams, just the quiet, almost mournful crackling of the fire. Old toys my sister and I forgotten were throwing up puffs of fiery cotton. Old clothes had been set ablaze and were burning up like an alleyway barrel fire. Drawers and cabinets were torn apart. Splinters protruded out of the edges of the drywall. And I only got to look at it for a minute before I felt the ferocious impact of the wing of a plane fly down onto me. Then, I woke up. A paramedic was performing chest compressions on me. After that day, I've been intrigued by the dream. I've always tried to lucid dream to try and get maybe a continuation, but I've been wildly unsuccessful. I've told only my closest friends this story, and I always get some frightened looks from them, being remorseful and all that. I appreciate their sentiments, though despite what you may think, I've just kind of given it up. I guess that there are no answers to everything in the world. Well, I'd write more, but the mail truck just arrived. Thanks for reading my experience. It's always a good campfire story.